Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be an interesting one. We're going to be learning how to make this kimono dress. It has an elastic waist. It really turned out great. My client really liked it, and let's get right into the video. Alright, so for the measurements needed, this is the list of measurements. Take a screenshot of it because these are the measurements you're going to need for this dress. Onto the materials needed. You're going to need a sewing machine, fabric, elastic thread as well as normal thread, measuring tape, fabric chalk, ruler, bias binding for the neckline, pins, and cutting scissors. Now we're going to fold the fabric. So take your fabric and open it up, and you're going to just fold it into two like so. Note, you're folding the right side of your fabric. So you're folding and you're going to be marking on the right side, not the left side. And then go ahead and fold it one more time. So altogether you're going to fold it into four like I'm doing here. Okay, so let's move on to marking our measurements on the fabric. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting the length of the dress. So from the edge, I'm going to assume that's the shoulder, and I'm going to mark the length of the dress. Remember to add 1.5 inches of sewing allowance, so your seam allowance, and then draw a straight line across. The next measurement you're going to mark is the shoulder to bust measurement. So from the edge of the fabric, just mark your shoulder to bust measurement and draw a straight line across. Next, you're going to do the same thing for the waist. So from the edge of the fabric, mark your shoulder to waist measurement and draw a straight line across as well. You're going to repeat the exact same steps for your hip measurement. So take the vertical measurement, your shoulder to hip, and draw a straight line across. So now that we're done taking our vertical measurements, we're going to move on to the horizontal measurement. Now what I'm doing here is putting in the neck width. My neck width ended up to be 4.5 inches, but I can say you can have yours more if you want off-shoulder kind of kimono look. You might want to put about 5.5 to 6 inches, but I wouldn't recommend anything less than 4.5 inches because there are no zips in this dress, so your head actually needs to fit into it. And here I'm just taking the shoulder measurement divided by 2 and marking it on the fabric. So for the neck depth, I ended up using about 5.5 inches for this dress. And I drew a V-neck using my French curve. So you can have any type of neck you want. You can have a round neck, you can have more of a boat line kind of neck. Any neckline you want, you can have it, but my client wanted a V-neck, so that's what I did. And then next, I'm just going in to draw the back neck line as well. So I just marked about 1 inch. You can have 1 to 1.5 inch, and I'm just drawing a curve with my French curve. Up next, I'm going to draw the shoulder slant. So I'm going to go where I put the shoulder measurement, and I'm going to go down by 1 inch and connect the points like so. So I'm going to connect it to my neckline all the way down with a ruler. Now go back to your bust line and put in your bust measurement divided by 4 and add 3 inches for allowance. Next, we're going to bypass the waistline and we're going to move to the hip line. So you're going to take your hip measurement, divide that by 4, impute that measurement on your fabric and add about 6 inches of allowance to that. I'm adding about 6 inches for the hip allowance because it's a free dress and you don't want it too tight. Using my ruler, I'm going to connect from the bust line to the hip line. Next, I'm going to take the whole measurement on my hip line. So my hip line measurement, including the 6 inches allowance, I'm going to measure that and I'm going to add 1 inch to that measurement and I'm going to mark it at the bottom of the dress. Then I'm going to be connecting from the hip line to that point I just marked with a ruler. Now from the waistline, mark 1.5 inches on both sides of the waistline. So 1.5 inches up and 1.5 inches beneath the waistline. And then draw a line across from those points. Next, I'm going to mark 0.5 inches in between those 3 lines. So each point should be 0.5 inch. And then from those markings, I'm going to draw a straight line. So altogether, I would have 7 lines. So here I'm just flipping the fabric to the other side and I'm just doing everything I did on the first side. I'm doing it on this side as well, just to make life easier when you're sewing. So once you're done making all the markings on that side, you're going to go ahead and cut your fabric. Make sure to cut the back neckline first. Now separate the fabric, the back from the front, and then cut your front neckline. So let's move on to threading the elastic. Only the bottom stitch is elastic, so get your bobbin and wrap the elastic around it. You're threading this manually, so we don't overstretch the elastic. So make sure to wound it carefully around the bobbin. Go ahead and thread your machine normally. Make sure to thread your needle. Go ahead and adjust your tension dials. I put mine to about 8 because I don't want too much tension and stress on the elastic. Also set your stitch length. Mine was 4 because I want it to be quite wide. Then grab a spare piece of fabric and test out your stitch. I recommend carrying out this step so you can know everything's good, everything is threaded properly before sewing on your main fabric. So here's how it looks. I have tested it and it looks good, so I'm going to start sewing on my main fabric now. So the places that you're going to apply elastic thread is just at the waist. So remember those 7 lines we made at the waistline? You're going to stitch each line with this elastic thread. And once you're done, you're going to go ahead and sew the dress like normal. So you switch back to your normal thread and then you're going to sew the side seams, you're going to sew the shoulder together, you're going to serge all around and hem the bottom of the dress, and also use bias binding on the neckline. I'm so sorry I didn't film the whole process. I actually got carried away and I had a deadline that evening to give the clothes to the client, so filming wasn't at the top of my priority. But let me know, I can always film a video on how to sew this dress exactly. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye.